He stood in front of 600,000 soldiers, the largest army ever assembled in human history. He was about to make a decision that would destroy everything he had built. And deep down, he knew it. This is the story of the most powerful man in the world, and how he lost it all. But to understand how Napoleon fell, you first need to understand how he rose. Because his beginning, it was nothing like his ending. Stay with me, because this story will surprise you. Napoleon Bonaparte was born in 1769 on a tiny island called Corsica, a small, poor island in the Mediterranean Sea. His family had no money, no influence, no power, and when he was 9 years old, his father made a painful decision. He sent Napoleon to school in France, alone, at 9 years old, in a country where he knew nobody. When he arrived in France, the other children heard his accent and laughed. They called him a foreigner. They said he did not belong. Can you imagine that? Being 9 years old, far from home, and being told you do not belong? Most children would have given up. Napoleon did the opposite. He studied. He read. He worked harder than anyone in the room. He discovered that while other boys were playing, he could be learning. And learning, he decided, was the only weapon he needed. His favorite subject was mathematics. Numbers made sense to him when people did not. And slowly, quietly, the lonely foreign boy became the best student in the school. Nobody was laughing anymore. But here is the thing nobody tells you about Napoleon. His rise was not just about talent. It was about timing. And Napoleon understood timing better than almost anyone in history. In 1789, the French Revolution began. The people of France rose up against the king, against the nobles, against everything. The streets of Paris were on fire. The old world was collapsing. And for Napoleon, this was not a crisis, it was his moment. At just 24 years old, he led a military operation that recaptured the port city of Toulon from the British. His commanders were stunned. Who was this young man? Where did he come from? In 1796, Napoleon was given command of the French army in Italy. When he arrived, his soldiers were exhausted. No food, no shoes, no hope. He stood in front of them and made a promise. He told them he would lead them to glory, to riches, to the most fertile lands in the world. And then he delivered. He led his army across the Alps in winter. Snow, ice, mountains that seemed impossible to cross. But Napoleon did not see obstacles, he saw solutions. He fought battle after battle across Italy. He won almost every single one. In 1 year, one single year, he changed the map of Europe. He was 27 years old, and he was just getting started. And then in 1804, he did something that shocked the entire world. He crowned himself emperor. At the ceremony, the Pope himself came to place the crown on Napoleon's head. But at the last moment, Napoleon took the crown from the Pope's hands and placed it on his own head. I did not get here because of God. I got here because of myself. As emperor, Napoleon transformed France. He created the Napoleonic Code, laws that said all men are equal before the law, rich or poor, Catholic or Jewish. It did not matter. The law was the same for everyone. These ideas spread across Europe like seeds carried by wind. Think about that. A man dead for 200 years, still shaping the world you live in. He built roads, schools, banks. He turned a country in chaos into a modern state. If you are enjoying this story and learning English at the same time, this channel is exactly what you need. Subscribe to English with John so you never miss a story. It takes 2 seconds, and it means everything to us. In 1812, Napoleon made the decision that would end his empire. He invaded Russia with 600,000 soldiers. He expected a quick victory. He expected Russia to collapse. But instead of fighting, the Russian army retreated. And as they retreated, they burned everything. Villages, food, supplies, they left nothing behind. Napoleon captured Moscow, but Moscow was empty. Silent streets, abandoned houses, a ghost city. And then winter came. The temperature dropped to minus 30 degrees. Soldiers froze to death in their sleep. Horses died. Guns stopped working. Napoleon had no choice. He turned back. Of the 600,000 soldiers who entered Russia, fewer than 100,000 returned. Let that number sink in for a moment. 500,000 people gone in one campaign. After Russia, Europe united against him. In 1814, Napoleon was defeated and sent into exile on a small island called Elba. But here is what makes Napoleon. He escaped. Soldiers sent to arrest him joined him instead. He marched into Paris without firing a single shot. For 100 days, he was emperor again. But at the Battle of Waterloo, it was finally completely over. He was sent to a remote island called St. Helena, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Far from France, far from glory, far from everything. He spent 6 years there, alone, writing, remembering. He died on May 5, 1821. He was 51 years old. So what do we take from Napoleon's story? He started with nothing. A small island, a foreign accent, a poor family. And he became the most powerful man in the world. He shows us what is possible when intelligence meets hard work and absolute belief in yourself. But the same qualities that take you to the top can destroy you if you never learn to control them. He was brilliant, he was flawed, he was completely deeply human. And maybe that is why, more than 200 years later, we are still talking about him. Because his story is not just about one man, it is about all of us. The fire inside us that drives us forward, and the wisdom we need to know when to stop. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today, my friends. If Napoleon's story moved you, leave a comment below. Tell me, do you admire Napoleon, or did he go too far? Subscribe to English with John to keep learning English through amazing stories. Until next time, keep listening, keep learning, and keep discovering the amazing stories of our world. Goodbye for now.